Hi everybody, Scott here. In this video I want to talk about INFJs and Ni acting as a defense mechanism. Now, this might come as a bit of a shock to some INFJs because INFJs can feel like not that they know everything, but that they're more self-aware than others. And the reality is that we all have blind spots, and no matter what personality type we are, and if we've got some unresolved wounds that we're not in touch with, then our functions can act, our natural cognitive functions can end up acting or being used as a way of protecting ourselves. Some of the cognitive functions can come across very obviously like a defense mechanism, in that they're using what's available. The cognitive function, if you like, is using what is available to them to protect themselves. And so depending on what is being protected internally and what they're defending themselves from, can use certain tactics or ways of communicating that are clearly being seen as can clearly be seen as defensive, in the sense that it could be half truths, it could be blatant lies, it could be aggressive, just things that kind of are really clear tells that, hang on, this person is hiding something, or they're protecting themselves from something, or they're just feeling hurt and pushing back, and it's very obvious. Where I think it can be the same for an INFJ. I don't think the INFJs are sort of immune from that style at all. But where it can get interesting is when NI is defending itself using truth, the truth that's available to them based on their NI. So NI, being what it is, can have a great amount of self-knowledge and also a lot of knowledge and understanding about other people. And so, similar to the other personality types, the INFJ is using what's available to them to protect themselves. And where some people might be protecting themselves using lies or half-truths or these sorts of things, the INFJ can use NI as a defense mechanism, in the sense that it speaks the truth to defend itself. And that can be very tricky for both the INFJ and the person on the receiving end, because they're speaking the truth. The other is often aware, well, I can't argue about that. I can't defend myself against that. It's true. It's either they either see it as true or they don't understand it. And it also tricks the INFJ, because the INFJ also knows that they're speaking the truth. And so that's kind of, it's like the master, NI can be like the master defense mechanism, because it uses truth to protect the self. And so it can be a difficult, if that's going on for an INFJ, I think it can be a difficult thing to recognize. And that can be true for all of us, because when no matter who we are, what personality type we have, if we're not in touch with something that we're protecting, we're being defensive about, then we don't know we're doing it. And so we're blind to what it is that we're doing. And so the INFJ and all the types are similar in that respect. But it can be doubly tricky for the INFJ, because they know, well, you can't argue with what I'm saying, because it's truth. It's true what I'm seeing. And I'm saying this from the position that most of the time INFJs are seeing things accurately. Fairly accurately. it can be a difficult thing for INFJs to recognize that they're doing NI as a defense mechanism, as opposed to like living from true self, and their NI is this information gathering process that they use to navigate life in a healthy way. So the way to recognize whether it's a defense mechanism or not is essentially, where is it coming from? Is it coming from what we'd call a protector, in the sense of, am I protecting myself with what I'm saying? Or that's one way. Another way is actually looking at the tone. NI defense mechanism can be like a cold targeted messages. You could say it's not, well, you could say it's coming from the heart, it's coming from the wounded heart, but it's just knowledge, though. It's like cold knowledge that's just being used to shut the other person down, or win an argument. It's not coming from a true self place. It's a way of describing it is, if we're not protecting ourselves, then we don't need to defend ourselves from other people, and so we're more, you could even say, wiser in the way that the way the INFJ communicates. Another way of recognizing NI defensiveness is that it is like it's like a automatic rifle. It just comes boom, 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 boom. There's not a break in the wall, and it's really not including the reality of the other person. It's used to usually shut the other person down and protect the self, or an aspect of self. What it could be protecting is anything, but it's actually true that a lot of INFJs, because of a range of factors that I've shared in other videos, cannot be in touch with certain emotions that they're carrying, unresolved wounds and so on that they might be carrying. And when we're not aware of those things, then NI can become a defense mechanism. And there's possibly people watching that have INFJs in their lives, especially spouses and partners, that will probably be very aware of what I'm talking about. So for INFJs, like any other type, it can be very difficult to recognize defensiveness. NI defensiveness is even harder to identify because it usually uses truth to defend itself. But what it essentially is doing when it's being used in that way, it's the way in which the INFJ avoids feeling their pain. So it's like NI's in the head just delivering a shutdown message, and it's a way of the INFJ staying disconnected from the pain that they're carrying in their heart. And so the solution for an INFJ that's doing this is to actually get in touch with the pain in their heart. And when an INFJ or any personality type does that, what they say and how they say it takes on a very different tone and a different delivery. In a sense, when the INFJ is defending with NI, it's actually coming from the hurt feeling, but it's using this NI logic, heady kind of NI to defend the self. Whereas when the INFJ gets in touch with the feeling, it's like they're more in touch with the true self, and when they're choosing to actually acknowledge and feel the hurt feeling, then they can share not from the hurt feeling, but in a sense on behalf of the hurt feeling. And instead of that sort of NI defense scattergun shutdown approach, it's more an I statement than a you statement. And from that place, the INFJ is able to speak on behalf of the hurt feeling, own the feeling that they're carrying instead of blaming the other for it. And that kind of NI message, that kind of, this is what's happening for me, and these are the reasons that I think it's happening for me, and this is what's hurt, and so on and so forth. That kind of message is much more receivable for the other person. Another way of putting it is that NI defensiveness is just judgment that kind of is, it's truth, but it never affects, it never changes anything. It kind of locks everything in place. Whereas when we're in touch with the wounding and we're communicating on behalf of it, then it's not coming from a judging place, it's coming from a self-ownership place. Owning the INFJ, owning what's going on for them, and respecting the other person and including them in the delivery, as opposed to like shooting them down. And that can lead to change. That can actually allow things to happen. That kind of open-hearted, if you like, message from the INFJ will be able to be received much more easily. And that's where you'll get change. That's where the other will be able to receive it and respond, hopefully in a like way. And things can change from that place. So I hope that makes sense, what I'm saying. And I hope that INFJs are able to identify with what I'm talking about here, and be interested to hear from partners of INFJs that may be understanding what I'm talking about, and it'd be really interesting to hear what you have to say about this. Anyway, I hope you've liked the video. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. Share it if you think it's worth sharing, and I'll see you again in another video.